my friend Jeremy, especially in the middle of this tribute to him, this retrospective, which I think is fantastic and very much deserved. Really, he's one of the great producers of cinema. And it's been my pleasure to make 3 films with him, and like him, I hope we'll make many more. And it's particularly exciting for us to bring this film back to Vienna, where we did shoot some of the movie, and really Vienna is, you'll see, is in a way represents the soul of the movie. And so it's wonderful to bring it to here. And I don't want to say too much because we will do a Q&A afterwards, so if there are any questions that you have, that would be the best time for us to talk. So I'm glad you're here, I'm glad we're here, and I hope you like the movie. It is still banned in Westminster in London. After all these years, if you try to show the film in the West End of London, you can be arrested and put in jail.
Occupy Westminster, that must be the next movement. Moving to your 3rd collaboration, the Viennese film, you have a wonderful role for a woman who actually existed and for the actress who plays her. And I'm thinking that in this line of work, there are often women who plant ideas that then get credited to men. If we can trust Lena Wertmüller's Beyond Good and Evil, Lou Andreas Salome happened to mention in an offhanded manner one day to Nietzsche, oh yes, God, I believe God is dead, and he sort of ran with that. And here, these men get an idea about perhaps the connection between sex and death from Sabine. Can you talk about her importance in the relationship?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we were trying, I felt very much that we, as I say, we were making a very neutral film with no agenda. You know, it was not an attempt to present Sabine as a feminist icon or a feminist martyr or anything like that. But the truth is the truth. Freud gave her 1 footnote, and Jung gave her no acknowledgement whatsoever, even though she influenced, as you can see from the movie. This is all very accurate, what you saw in the film. She gave him the idea of animus and anima, and the femaleness in males and maleness in females, and so on. On the other hand, I have to say that given the nature of the times, which was very repressive in terms of women, women were treated like goddesses. They were put up on a pedestal, but of course that's not a very nice place to be if you're a human being. And women's sexuality and women's intellect were not acknowledged. You weren't, if you were a beautiful woman, you were not supposed to have those things. And the psychoanalytic movement, as much as it partook in this patriarchal repression, was, I think, much more liberal than society in general, because Lou Salome, the very same Lou Andreas Salome, was a psychoanalyst herself. She became an analyst. Emma Jung became an analyst. Toni Wolff was an analyst. And of course, Sabine was an accredited psychoanalyst. So unlike other professions, parts of the medical profession where women were absolutely not allowed, the psychoanalytic movement did have the understanding that a woman's perspective and intellect was of great value. So we have to give it that credit, I think, as well as acknowledging the other aspects of it.
I don't know if you'd like to speculate along these lines, but I believe both of you are sort of fascinated by technology and technical advances. Could you have imagined that it would have been possible to watch a feature film on something called a mobile telephone when you both started out?
I think I did imagine that in my movie Videodrome, actually, many years ago. Because as a sort of an aficionado of Marshall McLuhan, who was sort of a philosopher's English professor at the University of Toronto, he invented the term global village, thinking mostly about television because the internet didn't really exist then, but bouncing off that, the whole idea of interactive television and the reality of sort of images that exist apart from the humans who produce the images, I think was in the air a long time ago. So I'm not really that shocked, actually, to see where we've come. But I really enjoy it, I must say.
Whereas I mean, when I started the movie business, in fact, was about the same time as David in the mid-60s, in '67. I think your first work was in '66. was working in a very analog world with tape for joins, and there wasn't even a fax machine. It's completely an unelectronic age, and I couldn't imagine such a thing. You know, and of course, you saw it in science fiction movies. Some people were thinking about that, but the difference. I mean, I couldn't imagine, and I still find it difficult to understand many things that I access electronically and digitally. I find it. I'm not. I mean, I love the technical side, but I'm not scientific in understanding how it's worked. So yes, I'm still in awe of it, and it's. We were looking at the film, strangely enough, tonight from the side, and David looked at him with a sort of misty eye at me and said, "Look at this film." And we looked up at the screen, and it was juddering. You know, it was not perfect, and it's rather like listening to a 78 record. It's like, you know, to watch a film on the screen projected on a piece of celluloid. It's like listening to a 78 record in the age of a CD and saying, I prefer that, because it's so primitive in a way that it's running through this projector, shaking and getting scratched and wearing out, whereas this digital clone is shown all over the world and it always looks the same. It's always looked the same theoretically, if the projectors are set the right way. Everybody sees the same thing. Whereas with a print, it's really like a handmade suit. Every print is a little bit different and has a sort of individual marking on it, and maybe some scratches from the roller, and maybe some colour and some bit of the negative bad, bit of the print is bad. So it still has a different, it's still a very different feel to the technologies.
Yes, I prefer digital projection. And the only thing I miss about film is the smell. I think, though, you could have an air freshener that smelled like Eastman Kodak film. You could have it in your car, and you could have this nice film smell. But really, I prefer, I must say, I'm very happy with the digital world, really. I find it very primitive, and it's like word processing, you know. I have affection for the typewriter, as you can see, you will see in the movie Naked Lunch, but I would never want to use a typewriter again.
But Jeremy, you've jumped feet first, I believe, into a technology